2017, the Global Peace Foundation received a grant from the United States Department of Homeland Security under its Countering Violent Extremism program. The 2-year program was implemented in New Jersey and designed to prevent extremist violence by raising awareness among law enforcement officials, first responders, and community members on the behavioral indicators that an individual may be mobilizing towards extremist violence or preparing for an active shooter situation. We also aim to build and strengthen trust and connections between community members, youth, and local law enforcement. Global Peace Foundation's project had several elements. It had a training component that trained law enforcement and community leaders on the indicators of mobilization. We also trained youth and frontline social workers on the social media risks, tricks, and scams, and what online recruitment of youth looked like. Those were our major project components. Global Peace Foundation's perspective is that radicalization is not a light switch, but rather a process. It can build from lack of knowledge about others who might be different from you. Lack of knowledge can grow into bias and racism, and potentially mistrust and fear, which can fuel extremism and violence. Global Peace Foundation works to prevent violent extremism by working lower on the arrow to overcome lack of knowledge and bias by sharing information and data through community building, engagement, and trust.
So it was really important for us to bring law enforcement and community together so that we all had an understanding of what are some of the indicators, what are some of the behaviors that might concern us. And so we were able to bring everyone together, everyone with kind of a baseline understanding of what the issues are. And then, of course, what's the best way to intervene if a family needs support.
When we go into communities, we lead with dignity. Dignity is the highest human denominator. And when you lead with respect for the dignity of all people, you allow people to understand your intentions. And your intention really is to have conversations, facilitate dialogue that leads to a better place and inclusivity for all families. The impact I've seen in communities has been phenomenal. Many times the first reaction is, thank you for having this conversation. Thank you for bringing this topic into our communities where we can talk about it.
Rutgers University Walter Rand Institute was our project evaluator, and they documented the effectiveness of Global Peace Foundation's work. Our project raised awareness, more than doubling the number of people who could identify violent extremism from any group or threat, foreign or domestic. Knowledge is power, and our project drove a 173% increase in the number of people in the community who could recognize risk factors and vulnerabilities to radicalization and recruitment. We effectively taught about behavioral indicators, more than doubling the number of people who could identify behavioral indicators of preparing for an attack. We empowered the community, driving an 83% increase in the number of people who now know how to get help if needed for an escalating child, friend, or family member. We helped build trust, evidenced by a 63% increase in the number of community members willing to connect and partner with local law enforcement to prevent shootings or other targeted violence.
During our training, we teach people to make assessments based on the risk indicators. And they apply across the board, across socioeconomical boundaries, race, color, or religion.
What's important to notice is that we're not just providing training on the indicators, we're also providing information on what to do if you think something is wrong.
One of the ways that we were able to bring everyone together is that we were neutral. We worked very closely with understanding the data. It's really important that if you stay neutral and you work well with your local partners, that you will continue to build your success, and I think we did.
Overall, we reached over 5,500 individuals through our trainings and community engagement events. we achieved more than our target goals, reaching over 1,400 individuals in law enforcement, over 1,400 community leaders, and training over 300 people in social media and online safety. Our community engagement events connected over 2,400 people with their local law enforcement members and helped to build trust and connections. But our project had more than outputs. We also achieved systems change during our 2-year implementation, and most importantly, we expanded our reach to include content related to active shooters, targeted violence, school shootings, and homegrown violent extremism. Thanks to our state of New Jersey partners, we expect our Train the Trainer trainings to reach an additional 35,000 first responders and mental health screeners over the next 18 to 24 months as they train additional personnel.
I've been a trainer in this program for a year now. It's an outstanding program, and I really received a lot of support from the Global Peace Foundation as a trainer. And it's certainly a program that I feel very strongly about and feel it's a necessary component for everyone. I really like the curriculum that has been brought into this program. That has allowed me to really address a wide range of people because of the curriculum, because it has some instances that everyone can relate to.
Clearly extending and replicating this work in more communities is absolutely essential. This is critical to building bridges that separate people until they get to talk to each other and get to have that heart-to-heart they don't know. So I can't emphasize enough the importance of extending this work, replicating this work, somehow incorporating it into the fabric of what happens in terms of creating safe communities.
The training itself is so succinctly developed and designed that you leave feeling like you know what to do, you know what to look for, you know how to handle the situation. So to better prepare citizens to know what to look for, how to collaborate, who to collaborate with, and who to contact is extremely valuable.
The Global Peace Foundation's mission is peace building. And when we saw the opportunity to engage urban areas to train and to bring about awareness connected with extremism, we jumped on the opportunity. This training has impacted many because it has allowed everyone that goes through the training to become aware of indicators that they had no clue was self-evident practically around them ongoing. And it absolutely and unequivocally could be used to prevent the next mass shooting in a local school or in a church or in a public facility right here in the United States, in any city.
This prevention programming is very important. Preventing targeted violence, bias crime, homegrown violent extremism, and school shootings couldn't be more important. It's effective, it's efficient, and it saves lives.
The Global Peace Foundation and its partners are continuing to receive requests to replicate this training in many communities across the country. We also continue to receive requests to host and facilitate more trust-building and community engagement activities with local law enforcement and community members. However, these activities require funding. To donate or learn more, please visit www.globalpeace.org.